right here with another message for your health. You know, since you're 70% water, you're a lot like a swimming pool. And you know, there's only one simple test to determine the health of the water in a swimming pool, and that's a pH test. The pH of water is measured on a scale from 0 to 14 with 7 right smack in the middle. Water with a pH less than 7 is acidic, and most of the bacteria that contaminate a pool love acid water. It's no coincidence then that the pH that's required to keep a pool clean and healthy is 7.4, just above the acid range. It's also no small coincidence that your body carefully regulates the pH of your blood to keep it right around 7.4, just above the acid range that many disease-causing, acid-loving, oxygen-hating bacteria just love to swim in. The food you eat is normally completely oxidized into hydrogen and carbon dioxide as long as you have enough oxygen, vitamin B2, vitamin B3, and a few other key vitamins. Without a sufficient supply of these essential vitamins, the food you eat is incompletely burned into acid waste products such as lactic acid, acetic acid, and keto acid. In order to keep the pH of your blood safely above the acid range, your body stores these acids in your tissues. And that means you have a contaminated swimming pool. If this pool represents the water of polluted tissue of someone who likes to drink soda pop and eat a lot of nutrient-deficient foods, then lactic acid, acetic acid, and keto acid would all be found in the water. This isn't rocket science, folks. It's just basic biochemistry 101. The tiniest living microorganism on this planet, and which also normally resides in your body and turns you to dust when you die, is called the mycoplasma. These things are so small that they can only be seen with the most advanced microscopy. In fact, here's what one looks like in comparison to a human cell. It's only about 1/100th the size of a cell. So, these bacteria that love to grow in oxygen-deprived acidic tissue are so small that nobody can see them. But just because they can't be seen, and just because no one's testing for them, doesn't mean they're not there. Mycoplasmas are so tiny that it takes hundreds to thousands of them to cover an entire cell. In fact, here's a picture of a white blood cell covered with hundreds of them, and they love to stick to membranes and get into everything and gum up the works. In fact, if this was a red blood cell and somebody looked at it under a microscope, they'd say you've got poikilocytosis, which is a fancy word for lots of pokey things. But if you asked your doctor why your red blood cell test says you've got poikilocytosis, he wouldn't be able to tell you unless he pulled out his multi-million-dollar electron microscope and knew what he was looking for. Look, folks, if you're contaminating your swimming pool, then the mycoplasmas that normally live and balance in your body are gonna have a heyday. Veterinarians understand that mycoplasma can cause disease, but for some reason, human doctors haven't just caught on to the connection. And that's why in medical laboratories today, the #1 contaminant is mycoplasma. Where do they think it's coming from? The air? It's in the blood sample, people. So I had an idea. I thought I'd do a little bit of research on all the most popular medical journals to see if any other doctors have made a connection between chronic degenerative disease and mycoplasma. Take a couple minutes and see if you can find your ailment in this list of long and scary names. After I found all that information, I found a laboratory in Beverly Hills that tests for 6 different types of mycoplasma species that have been shown to cause human disease. And take a look and see what I found. Come on, folks, this isn't rocket science. Just because you can't see these bugs and just because no one tests for them doesn't mean they're not there. There's over 23 million people in America alone that have some kind of autoimmune disease. And autoimmune means that the immune system is activated and there's white blood cells floating around the body. But because the doctors can't find an infection, they think that your immune system is activated for some wacky reason, so they suppress the very immune system that's just trying to do its job. I'll tell you what, you couldn't pay me $1 million to give somebody those cytotoxic immune suppressant drugs that have more side effects than Methuselah has years. I say it's time for a new paradigm, folks. Let's wake up. People, wake up! I'm tired of being the only one that's pulling my hair out about this subject. This isn't rocket science, but it is rock cod science, so just keep your swimming pools clean, will you? And stop playing stump the doctor by contaminating your water by getting it out of a pH range that allows a bunch of little bugs to grow. It activates your immune system so that your doctor doesn't know what the hell's wrong with you, and he gives you a bunch of drugs that are doing more harm than good. Because I took a Hippocratic oath and not a hypocritic oath to do no harm. You won't catch me suppressing your immune system. So if you want to be healthy and feel good, just keep your water clean, okay? Dr. Rock Cod, over and out.